appreciate your time. So let me start by saying that, Amanda, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to present. It has definitely been a journey. We are incredibly fortunate to be on this journey with some other families. And I feel that my job, and it is my honor also to help educate other families, because I always say that I wouldn't be here in this position if it wasn't for the other moms and dads that have come before us, that have paved the way for so much insight, awareness, and opportunity for our kids. So again, thank you all very much. Look forward to presenting our journey with all of you. So what I always tell to new parents is that there's many ways to look at autism, and there's many different services, as we just talked about. There's different diets. There's so many different opportunities to give your child help. So it does really make me happy that I can share our experience with all of you and give you our best practices, what we've done very well and where we've learned major lessons. Again, like I said, we have been on this journey for about 10 years. And we've done a lot of things right, and then we have done a lot of things wrong. And so again, it's just our pleasure to be able to pass on that information. Also, during this presentation, I will interchange the words, whether I call it a biomedical journey, a functional medicine, or integrative medicine. It is all within the biomedical world. So again, I'm going to use biomedical, functional, and integrative medicine throughout this presentation. So the autism journey for us, excuse me about that. I always like to tell parents, it's almost like breaking it up into a pie. As we opened up the conversation, it is a flood of information if you're just starting this journey. It really is a flood of information. However, if you can piecemeal it or look at it as a pie and take it in different segments, it does make it a lot easier to swallow. So I like to break up the autism pie or the autism journey into several different components. There is the diet and supplements component. There is the therapy component, which can consist of speech, OT, RDI, or DIR floor time. There's the education component, which is not only school for your child, but self-education for the family. There's then the biomedical approach, working with a functional medicine doctor or a MAPS doctor. And then just as important is the family support. So you do need to have your spouse on board and your family there to help support you. I'm also a massive believer in exercising for our kiddos. There's a critical importance to detoxing and sweating that I'll talk about. And then also one of the other things that has helped us tremendously is Epsom salt baths. But again, I break a lot of this up to make it easier to understand and to do implementation slowly and generally at once, at different times, excuse me. So where it all began for us, so we had the autism diagnosis at age 3. At that point, we were incredibly overwhelmed. We were seeing neurologists, we were seeing doctor's appointments. I was reaching out to therapists. I must have reached out to, gosh, millions of therapists I remember calling. We worked with the regional center. We were being put into special education at, prior to 3 years old. We've been in public schools, we've been in private schools. We've also invested our time, energy, blood, sweat, and tears into putting him into extracurricular activities such as basketball and soccer and social skills classes. And, again, being almost in this journey for 10 years, we've done a lot. And we just keep going. And then where, in all honesty and transparency, where we saw the most significant change with our son is when we did the biomedical intervention and when we saw a MAPS doctor. And that was not until he was 8.5 years old. And I specifically say that to give hope to so many parents, because it was at 8.5 that I had done a tremendous amount of research and knew this was the next path for us to go down. So that is London essentially today at 10 years old. He is a beautiful, intelligent, charming 10-year-old boy with a massive amount of energy and passion and humor, and he's really maturing. And again, even though he was in so many different therapies, he was in and out of different schools, because we were trying to find the best school. The most significant progress came after we started the biomedical approach. And I also think it's really important to note that biomedical is a process, and it is a good amount of work and energy, and it can take up to a year or so to see significant progress. So please don't get discouraged. Please keep going, and please remember there's really no magic bullet here. It is a lot of trial and error, and hopefully I can help you as to what we have learned. So biomedical healing, I've done a tremendous amount of research. TACA, if you're not involved with TACA, I highly suggest you get involved with them. They are, if not the best, they're one of the best, if not the best, autism support group for families nationwide. And I have a lot of the information from this presentation from TACA, and I will send out this presentation when I'm done, and all of these links go to videos or reports, etc. So what is biomedical healing and what is a MAPS doctor? So MAPS is something you'll hear more and more in the special needs community. It is a functional medicine doctor who does biomedical intervention, and they keep up with the most biomedical recent research within the special needs communities, not just for autism, but with all the special needs communities. So here locally, when I say locally, speaking Southern California specifically, there are a couple, actually I take that back, Dr. Skowron is over on the East Coast, but there are some amazing MAPS doctors that I highly recommend. And there's also a lot of resources within the TACA community. But again, here are two MAPS doctors. We happen to go to the Rosignol Medical community with Dr. Fleidner. He's no longer there. So Dr. Rosignol or their new team is amazing. And you will see that once I send this presentation out, there are links and there are podcasts, and there's a tremendous amount of information in this presentation for you. So functional medicine, you heard me say functional medicine, biomedical, MAPS, integrative. They all kind of fall under the same umbrella. Functional medicine is really just diving deeper. It is diving deeper into how and why illnesses occur. And it's not just taking autism or any illness for that matter at the 30,000 feet level. You really have to look at the root causes. Excuse me, the root causes of autism are incredibly fascinating, and you want to work on those rather than just trying to take care of behavior. There's always a reason for a behavior. And I think once you realize that in your heart and your gut, you will understand that there's ways to really heal that behavior. And so if you're looking for a functional medicine doctor, specifically within the integrative medicine world, I do follow Dr. Mark Hyman on Instagram. He's amazing. He has wonderful podcasts. He's more for adults, but I think he gives me more information that I implement for autism than most people I know. He also has the Doctor's Pharmacy, which is a wonderful podcast that does talk about autism and treating autism with nutritional testing, etc. And the last link on here is Drew, who does Drew Pruitt, who is another integrative medicine doctor who talks about new science-based approaches to treat autism. So again, phenomenal information here. Don't just take feedback that you get at face value. Try to do the research yourself, or speak with me and I can do whatever I can to help you. So one of the things I've learned is there is a gut and brain connection. And this actually is probably the most important information I believe you're going to get on your journey with your child, because if you can realize that there is a gut and brain connection that has to do with inflammation, you will be on a path for success regarding diet and supplements. So this is really important, everybody. So Dr. Bach, who just presented at the TACA conference, said that neuroinflammation, so that's brain inflammation, and neuroimmune abnormalities have now been established in autism as key factors. So again, so inflammation in the brain and neuroinflammation, neuroimmune abnormalities, so that is inflammation within the immune system, is now being connected to autism. So again, two of the prominent clinical features of autism are inflammation and neuroimmune system dysregulation. So why I'm telling you all this, and I know it's a little bit left of center and a little bit more scientific, but if you can understand that there is systematic inflammation in the body of your child, if you can reduce that inflammation, you will start to see so much more progress. And again, gut-brain immune axis. So immediately a gut and brain connection, then you have a gut, brain, and immune axis. And ultimately there's inflammation in the brain. We all have a level of inflammation in our bodies. However, our kiddos tend to have a lot more inflammation than the other kids. And so it's very, very important that you have a good understanding of this now as you go through this journey. I do a link to Dr. Bach because he deserves all the credit for this. And I think it's very interesting that you see a bunch of reports now coming out about healing the new childhood epidemics with reducing inflammation in the brain and the gut. And I will talk about that more in a few minutes. So let's continue on with gut and brain connection. So gut and the brain are really the two top priorities. You need to clean up the gut and the brain to see more progress in therapy and school. And we are finding out that literally 90% of the people that's with autism suffer because their gut is not cleaned out. So there's a tremendous amount of stool issues, and we will talk about that as well. So you want to look at reducing inflammatory foods. And again, we will talk about that. What we're also finding out from more research is we know the gut affects the brain. And forgive me because I cannot see. Oh, here we go. It affects the gut and the brain, especially in autism. But now they are saying that the gut and the brain and the inflammation are starting to have more information leading into ADHD, allergies, Alzheimer's, PTSD, OCD. If we can clean up the brain and the gut and have them speak to each other in clear paths, you will start to see a lot of progress. And so again, to support everything I am saying is links to research. So could a brain-gut connection help explain autism? Research confirms gut-brain connection in autism. So again, I am giving you all the support from science to show you that if you clean up the gut and the brain, cleaning it up, cleaning up the diet, cleaning up their stool habits, reducing the inflammatory foods, you will begin to help heal the gut and the brain, and the amazing progress just really overflows. So continuing on this, and the reason why, again, I am speaking to it so passionately is because there's more and more science coming out, yet your typical Western medicine doctor may not have all the information. Hey, listen, Western medicine is absolutely wonderful and so important, but I do think that there's so much more to our kiddos than just giving them ABA or just giving them therapy, okay? So here's more information about the gut and the brain connection. So this is a phenomenal book by Dr. Pearl Mutter. It is The Brain Maker. Again, just backing up the gut and the brain connection. The first step in improving brain health is to clean up the diet. A whole foods plant-based diet has been shown to be the best choice overall, okay? The chemicals that we are putting in our bodies every single day causes toxins in the body, potentially be contributing to leaky gut. So you really want to make sure that your child is eating whole foods to the best of your ability, getting a tremendous amount of exercise during the week. When I say tremendous amount, really just 30 to 60 minutes a day, but outside, getting proper sleep. And I know this is not easy. Trust me, I know. I've been there. I've been on the journey with you guys. It is not easy. Just do your best. and things will come into place. Now, again, I did put some links on here to show you that here's foods that can foster the benefits, the microbiome. And for those of you that are not familiar with the microbiome, it is a word for the gut. And really what they are finding out is your microbiome, or your gut, for lack of a better term, is really in charge of your entire body. So if your microbiome is clean and full of positive and positive bacteria, and then we'll go into probiotics soon, but you want to make sure your microbiome is clean. And lastly, this is a research paper, why gut bacteria are becoming key suspects in autoimmune diseases. So again, remember all this as I'm telling you this, because they're finding out that autism may be some type of autoimmune disease. However, if you can reduce the inflammation, you are going to be on the path to success. There are multiple diets to choose from, okay? So you have to choose what is best for your child, and I will talk to you about what we've done. TACA recommends a gluten-free, casein-free, and soy-free diet. We went gluten-free and casein-free, and it made massive differences, okay? There's also the Walls protocol. Dr. Terry Walls spoke at TACA as well. And I urge you to read all this. It's another diet. There's the Feingold diet. There's the Reed diet, which is another great diet that TACA talks about. And ultimately, all these diets, what are they doing? All of these diets are whole food based, okay, without gluten, casein. Some have no soy, some have no grains, but all of it supports a healthy gut. And the last bullet on this slide is an autism dietitian who also will follow up on all these diets and the importance, the critical importance of eating a whole foods-based diet. Now, I will also talk about what we do at home, because it is not easy to live like this. I know it, and take it in steps, take it one at a time. And that's why I always tell people to break it up into different components or different pieces of the pie to make it easy on you. If you're going to do a gluten-free, casein-free diet, we actually did gluten-free for almost 6 months before we even considered casein-free. So make it easy on yourselves. This is a journey, okay? So I always want to let you know at a support level that I don't expect you, or nobody expects you to do it all at once, because it is a good amount of work. So let's talk about what we did. So, and remember, we didn't do this till 8.5 years old. And when we did it is when the real progress began. So we removed gluten first. We removed gluten, and that was not easy, but there's a lot of great gluten-free options out there. Then just recently did we truly go all in casein-free, which is dairy. So now we are gluten and dairy-free. I also suggest removing all the sugar and additives if you can. You want to do your best to eliminate processed foods and reduce carbs, starches, and grains. The reason why is carbs, starches, and specifically grains are inflammatory, okay? So you want to reduce any type of inflammatory food. Sugar is inflammatory, grains are inflammatory, gluten is inflammatory. And so it's really important to remove any type of inflammatory foods in the diet. So the gluten-free, casein-free diet, which by far is the best diet out there if you can do it, it's wonderful. I also recommend a whole foods diet with organic and fermented foods and prebiotic foods. And there's an amazing group on Facebook called Power Moms. And this is a no supplement group, and I'll go into that later, but it's an amazing, amazing group. What I think is really important, and this is where I get down into the weeds, so please don't allow this to overwhelm you, because we started including these items and it's made a world of difference. So I put these items under here because this is through Judy Duffy's Facebook group, which is called Power Moms, and I want to give her full credit. We implemented broccoli sprouts. And the reason why is they contain silica to help remove the toxins. Our kids have toxins build up in them. Okay, so you need to detox our kids, and I'll talk about that in a minute. You want to build their immunity. That is very, very important. You want to also give them high levels of omega-3, and which helps decrease the inflammation, and you want to give them antioxidants. So again, we put broccoli sprouts and we actually kind of grind them up and hide them in his food. And I'm sorry to say the word hide, but we get him in his food pretty much every day, but in different ways. Camel milk. Camel milk has been the ultimate game changer for us. As most people, I was a bit hesitant. However, doing the research and reading the success stories, I have found it to be amazing. And we have started London on it just recently, about a month ago. We do 1 ounce of camel milk a day. And the reason why we do camel milk, we are a dairy-free household, but camel milk is a good source of protein and the fatty acids, vitamin B, which is very important, potassium, phosphorus, and calcium. It also significantly enhances glutathione, and our kids need the glutathione. That's critically important. A lot of our kids cannot make glutathione, and it helps reduce oxidative stress. So again, camel milk, we buy it online, we buy it frozen, it's shipped to us, and it thaws out in the refrigerator. It's been amazing. Manuka honey. This is, you want to get a grade, and I know again I'm going into the weeds, but this is really important, guys. Manuka honey, 20 plus is a grade that you want to get. It helps the gut, it has anti-inflammatory properties. It increases probiotic growth and reducing pathogen growth. So again, if you buy the honey, all of these you do want to buy from reputable sellers. I do buy it on Amazon, but I buy it directly from New Zealand. And we actually mix it in with his gluten-free oatmeal. And the lastly is the olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, high quality, high polyphenol. This is really important. It helps to heal the gut and reduce inflammation in the brain. And you want to make sure it has a certification seal. When you buy olive oil here in the States, oftentimes they can cut it with different oils. It may not be full olive oil. You want to make sure it has the certified organic olive oil seal on it. And you want to make sure it's high quality and has high polyphenols. Again, I can help you with places to buy it. I mentioned diet constipation earlier. London had a lot of issues in this area, and I know so many kids that have issues. It's very common within our community of autism. So again, if you could please consider eliminating gluten, dairy, soy, artificial ingredients, and sugar. We know by just the very nature with a lot of us, milk and cheese are very constipating. When you can eliminate the dairy from the diet, I have heard amazing success stories. Please consider eliminating the dairy from the diet, as you will then be able to start to heal the gut. Do your best to give them water. If not water, we do a lot of coconut water. A lot of whole foods, fruits, and vegetables are very helpful with regulating the gut. And the reason oftentimes the guts are so inflamed is from the processed foods that we all eat, myself included, from the inflammation from the gluten and the dairy. So what do you do for constipation? I do get this question a lot. We give London daily probiotics. I'm a huge believer in probiotics. Actually, Dr. Rosignol just spoke at the TACA conference, and he did a study on the benefit of probiotics with autism. We do vitamin C every day to help build his immunity. And then if he's constipated, we give him extra vitamin C. We also give London flaxseed oil every day. Again, it is a phenomenal anti-inflammatory seed oil. If need be, you can always use magnesium citrate or oxy powder. And my magnesium citrate and oxy powder were recommended to us from our MAPS doctor. And they work well if your child is severely constipated. If they're not severely constipated, then I would try to do probiotics, lots of water, vitamin C, and flaxseed oil. I did a link here to TACA's poop page, because when you're in the special needs, specifically autism community, we do a lot of talking about poop, whether we like it or not. But I also want to say, please, please, please do not use Miralax for our kids, specifically for our kiddos. When a child takes the Miralax, they are drinking essentially plastic, and this could potentially have the ability to permeate the GI lining, as many kids with autism already have issues with that. So please do not give your child Miralax if they have autism. And I did a link here as well from the warning from the FDA and from TACA. So diet and behaviors. So the reason I put this in here is because oftentimes, oh gosh, myself included, all we could see was the meltdowns. All we could, deal with at the time was the behaviors that were happening on top of the iceberg. Well, autism is so much more than actually what you see. So on the surface, you might see a child struggling with being a picky eater, constipation, or meltdowns. Oh my goodness, London had some really rough ones, and poor focus. However, I encourage you to dive deeper. Why are these issues happening? Why are they struggling? Why are they struggling to focus? Why are these meltdowns happening? What we're finding out is a lot of it has to do with nutritional imbalances, specifically food sensitivities. That's probably number one. Or there's bacterial and yeast overgrowth in the gut, and poor detoxification. So I'll talk about detoxifying in a few minutes, but you want to look at what's going on below the surface. And that is where functional medicine or integrative medicine really has been such a positive influence in our lives, is that you have to look below the surface. Please don't just put your kid in therapy and think it's going to solve all the problems. I really believe that therapy is critically important. You just want to make sure you're addressing the gut and the brain inflammation to allow your child to be successful in the therapies. And I do believe that since London's been on this special diet and supplements, that he has not only progressed well in life, but has really progressed within his speech therapy, within his OT therapy, because now we're actually working below the surface on what we don't necessarily see. So again, that's why I have this slide up here. And I got this from the autism dietitian, who we do see, and I'll talk to you about that in a few minutes. This is an interesting fact. So children with autism spectrum disorder are 8 times more likely to have GI issues. So if you're new to the autism journey, you're probably just coming to realize this. If you don't have GI issues, that is amazing, and I congratulate you, because that's wonderful. However, most of our kids do suffer with either constipation or diarrhea. There may be reflux or bloating, and it's very important to understand that a common underlying cause of dysbiosis, and dysbiosis just means the imbalance of gut bacteria, is generally a common underlying issue for these behaviors. So whether it's dysbiosis in the gut or yeast overgrowth, it does change their behaviors. So treatment needs to be done with diet and supplements, as supplements alone can't completely heal the gut. The diet must be fixed too. Excuse me. And trust me, as when I say I put London in therapies thinking he would like progress from there. Then I gave him a ton of supplements. I thought he'd be progressed from there. It's not until I did the combination, I fixed the diet, I fixed the supplements, is when I saw a massive amount of progression. So let's go into the supplements. And this is a phenomenal book if you are just starting out without any help. And what I mean help is having a MAPS doctor or having a autism dietitian. This is the bare bones of what I always suggest people start with. And one of the newest vitamins that we just added to London is a multivitamin. We literally just added this maybe 2 months ago. It was suggested by our MAPS doctor because we were giving London about 14 different supplements, and we were able to reduce the supplements. This is a product called Energy Needs, and it's a pill form. They also have Spectrum Needs. Some of you may have heard of it. It is recommended by TACA as well as the MAPS community. I can't begin to tell you how beneficial this multivitamin has been for our son. Amazing. I also suggest always vitamin D, because most children, in fact, most of us neurodivergent or not, have low vitamin D. So I always recommend vitamin D, and you can do 3,000 to 4,000 IUs. Zinc. Zinc is really just a beginning, a small amount. You can even do 5 to 10 milligrams because a lot of our kiddos are low on zinc. I highly recommend a omega-3. You need omega, you need the fats, you need the good fats, you need the fish oils, the cod liver oils to reduce inflammation. The number one thing you should be doing for diet and supplements is to reduce the inflammation in the body. Again, here's another study where showing by giving, whether it's fish oil or cod liver oil, you want to lower the inflammation, which also helps to, in turn, to reduce the anxiety of a lot of our kids. So probiotics, this is critically important. So this was a recent review of the role of probiotics and prebiotics. You can give anywhere from 30 to 100,000 billion CFUs per day. Right now, we give London about 50 to 75, depending on, he gets 50 every single day, no matter what. And then an additional 25 billion CFUs if he might be a little constipated. And then magnesium. Even though there is magnesium in the multivitamin, I am a massive believer in the benefits of magnesium, not only for our kids, but for us. It is called the calming mineral, okay? It helps calm our kiddos. So you generally need magnesium in addition to the multivitamin. And again, a lot of this information was pulled from this book, as well as our MAPS doctor and our autism dietitian. Here's London supplements, everybody. I put this out here to give you an idea of what we have done. And when I originally gave this presentation back in March of 2021, we had a lot more supplements on here. However, I wanted to do this updated presentation to show you that this is ever changing. We're always looking, or at least I'm always researching. And so one of the things that's tremendously helped us is the inositol. That is the first line item in the morning and the afternoon. Inositol is for anxiety, OCD, and stress. It is a powder formula that is recommended by TACA and by our MAPS doctor, and it's wonderful. Then we do a plethora of other supplements. And I have done tremendous research. Not only has the MAPS doctor approved these, but our autism dietitian has approved these. And we see a lot of benefit in all of these supplements. So here's a little bit more information that I wanted just to put out, that this is not an easy journey. There's a lot of work to be done. One of the things I highly recommend, if you can, is purchasing a high quality air purifier and possibly house plants to remove the mold or the air. As most of you know, the air in our homes is far more toxic than the air outside. So indoor air is almost 30 times more polluted than the outside air, and how houseplants can remove that mold or remove the pollutants in the air. And then exercise outside in the sun. The benefits of exercise really come directly from its ability to reduce the insulin resistance, to reduce inflammation, and stimulate the release of growth factors. Okay, so again, please do your best to get your child outside. I know it's not easy for everybody, but just do your best whenever you can. And I also included this great study about the impact of environment and lifestyle to key human health. We have a water filter system for our drinking, and I just installed this Kuzin bath ball faucet filter because London happens to drink the bath water. So we do try to do our best everywhere, and all I ask is for just to do your best and to try. It's not easy. I wake up every day and say, okay, I'm gonna, do better today, but I know this life is tough. Just keep doing what you can do. We notice, I think this is interesting, we notice that when there's Santa Ana winds, especially a day like today, London's anxiety skyrockets. Well, our MAPS doctor told me that this is true, that the histamines increase. So, histamine intolerance with children and autism. It is true. Funny story, I didn't necessarily believe my husband when he would say, London's kind of acting up with a lot of anxiety because of the Santa Ana winds. And when the MAPS doctor said, that's true, that's very common with our kids. And then I found a research paper. I thought it was relatively interesting. So if any of your kiddos act like this, act a little, left of center during the winds, now you know why. Here's another link for the autism dietitian. Her name is Britton. She's been a great resource for us. She is less expensive than a MAPS doctor, and she's done a great job just kind of steering us in the right direction. And then one of the most important things about the supplements, everybody, is to look for high quality supplements from reputable labs and manufacturers. I know it's not easy to get all this, nor is it cheap. However, if I was just starting out, without a doubt, I would buy the energy needs. That would be the first thing I would buy. And then depending on what you can afford and where you think your child is, like, do they have OCD? Do they have a lot of anxiety? I may suggest other ones. But again, it is a journey. You don't have to rush out. Because sometimes it can be overwhelming. So let's talk about the Epsom salt baths. This is very, very important. And there's many reasons why you want to do at least we happen to do it every night just because it's part of our routine, but at least 3 times a week, put your child in the bath. In a perfect world, you would have them in there for 15 minutes, but anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes. Just to reduce the inflammation. It's also phenomenal because it's magnesium, gang, and magnesium is a great calming mineral. It really helps reduce the inflammation. And the most important thing is a phenomenal detox. So if you look at the second to last bullet, sulfate can strengthen the walls of the digestive tract and make releasing toxins easier. We need to help our kids detox. Sweating is the #1 way to detox our kids, but I know that's not often very simple. So we do a nightly Epsom salt bath, and we do 1 cup of baking soda with 1 cup of Epsom salt, and it happens to, the baking soda happens to help the Epsom salt integrate into the body better. I am done. I know I rushed through that because I know we have limited time. Here are some resources just for all of you on the call or whoever is going to be listening in the future. If you're looking for a MAPS doctor, we've been very happy with the Biomedical Center. They happen to be in Aliso Viejo, California. They also have offices in Florida, I've heard, and I believe in Northern California. The TACA, Autism Community in Action Group, phenomenal resource, phenomenal. The Facebook group is one of the best Facebook groups I know in the sense of moms helping each other. Then we have Amanda up here, Aspire for Autism Family Group Facebook. I do love this group as well because there's the opportunity to interface with other moms as well as a phenomenal speech therapist. And then we have OT on here. Tumble and Dots has been a great OT facility for London. We have RDI. We are a huge believer in RDI. It's relationship development intervention. Then here's the autism dietitian again. The last bullets I really want to press upon because these are educational opportunities. So Autism Parenting Secrets is a podcast that my husband found, and I'm so proud of him because now I really feel that he is really getting more engaged with the biomedical approach since he started listening. And I hope he's not on here hearing me say that. But since he started listening to this podcast series, he really now is embracing the diet, the supplements, so much more than ever. This new science-based approaches to treating autism, I mentioned this earlier, but it's a really great podcast. Then again, the Doctor's Pharmacy, Dr. Kenneth Bach, and lastly, the Power Moms. This is very important. This group, though, they do not believe in supplements. They only do diet. But I think it's a phenomenal resource. It's very complementary. It is complementary to the supplements. Again, just please don't say that because they don't like that. That is it. Amanda, thank you so much for your time, and everybody